Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good day so far. We're going to do a weekly roundup show today. My hope is sort of every Friday. Obviously, I'm still sort of getting used to the content. You know what works best. It's going to take me a few weeks or months to sort of work out the analytics, how everything's doing. But I'm thinking sort of to the end of every week, I'm going to do like a weekly roundup show. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about three main things. We're going to talk about Jose Mourinho and obviously the Europa Conference League win. We're going to talk about Tyrell Malacia, obviously the player from Feyenoord that played in that final, the left back, fantastic in my opinion. And then we're going to talk about the Champions League final on Saturday night between Real Madrid and Liverpool. So as always, please leave a like, please subscribe if you are new, and let's get into it. So I think we'll start with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, a fifth European final and a fifth European trophy for Jose Mourinho. I always felt that he was maybe slightly unfairly treated for his time at United. I thought he did a cracking job with what sort of compared to the other managers that we've had, really. And I'm very, very happy for Mourinho to get his fifth European trophy. I don't understand how people can't appreciate the man. I just think he's unbelievable. And you could see what it meant to him, what it meant to Roma, their first ever European trophy for Roma, and what it meant to them. I think it's their first trophy for a number of years now. I think they've gone on more than a decade. I think they've gone on without a trophy, and that might be happening to us the way we're going. Hopefully, it doesn't. But yeah, fantastic for Jose. Tammy Abraham, excellent. Chris Smalling was excellent. Zaniolo as well, just a top player, can hold the ball up, technically good, strong, just good on the turn. Chest control and his finish was excellent for the goal. So full credit to Roma in the Conference League final. Well done to Jose. In terms of the main part of the show, I want to get onto Tyrell Malacia. So Tyrell Malacia is somebody that's getting quite a lot of attention at the moment. We've been linked to him in the past. Approximately something around the 20 million mark could possibly do it to get Tyrell Malacia to United. There's been a few links in the past, obviously playing for Feyenoord in the Dutch Eredivisie, where Ten Hag obviously was for many years with Ajax. So obviously Ten Hag knows the league well. I just want to get up. Actually, I'm going to get up some stats from the game last night, just to talk about Malacia in more depth. But yeah, honestly, I think this kid he's 22 years old. I think he is a real threat going forward. He's so good with that final ball. I've watched him a few times. Yesterday, he was exceptional. I've liked him a few times. I watched him yesterday. He was exceptional. His defensive positioning, his awareness is very good. His recovery pace, that we're going to talk about that and how that could help Ten Hag as well with his system. So let's get into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen so you can view some things from the game between Roma and Feyenoord. So I'm going to share that now, and you should be able to see that now. Yep, that's all good. So this is from SofaScore. So this is just looking at Malacia and his performance yesterday. So you can see, if you look at this graphic at the top with his heat map at the top right of the picture in the middle of the top right there, you can see how you can see there's not many areas that are really red. So basically that means that he was present in all those down the left hand side, both in the attacking third, the middle third, and the defensive third. Obviously his most common position was maybe in the middle third. But you can see that he is present all on that left hand side, not just in one phase of the game. So this shows to me, and it's not just about looking at stats as well. So don't think I'm just a stat man. I didn't watch the game. I watched the game in its entirety. And this sort of proves what the eye test showed, really. It's always good to back up the eye test with stats. If stats go against the eye test, I'm not so keen. If they back up the eye test, brilliant. So I think this backs up the eye test. He was present throughout. Wasn't just strong in the attacking third with his. You can see there he's got 2 key passes there. You've got the ground duel, so he's showing that he's strong going forward with his key passes, and he's showing that he's strong defensively. 70% of his ground duels won. Also, if you look at the pass accuracy, 96%, which is very, very good. And by the way, people might be thinking, well, if you didn't watch the game, you might be thinking, well, were they all very, very simple passes? Is that why? No, he was actually making. I was watching the game very, very carefully. He was actually making some of the passes he was making were progressive, through the eye of the needle passes at times. So it wasn't like he was just keeping it 2-yard passes, which is not a problem anyway. Especially for a midfield player, we've seen down the years players like Busquets, for example, very, very good at doing that sort of thing, just receiving the ball from the first phase of build-up, or even joining the first phase of build-up into maybe a back 3 to outnumber the opposition and playing simple passes forward to get the team ticking. He actually wasn't just doing that. He was also playing more dangerous passes. And people might be thinking, well, is 2 key passes, is that a lot? That is quite a lot for a fullback, especially. You don't tend to see players playing 5, 6, 7 key passes a game. They do tend to be smaller numbers. You'll see there, you might be thinking, well, he's only made 1 out of 6 accurate crosses. Let me tell you, the crosses he were putting in were wicked. They really, really were. And you've got to remember, when you're crossing the ball, especially from a wide area, you're depending a lot on your forward players. So everyone will know this from your knowledge of football. And obviously, if you cross, you might put a fantastic cross in, and it might actually be the forward's fault, or the midfielder hasn't joined, or you're in a final as well. You've got to remember that. So Feyenoord, although they were obviously looking for a goal, you're in a final. Players may have less incentive to go and put their attacking numbers in the box. So therefore, there might not have been as many players in the box, and therefore the cross might have been intercepted more easily. Also, Roma playing with a back 3. So Smalling, I think it was Smalling, Ibanez, and I think it's Mancini as well, the other centre half. So there's 3 strong, dominant centre halves in there. And you're up against, I think there was the top scorer, I think final striker was the top scorer in the competition. But if you've got 1 centre forward, or if you're playing 1 striker, it's often very, very difficult. As you well know, it's often very, very difficult to, if you've got up against 3 centre halves for a cross, how are you going to outnumber them in that sense? So don't worry too much if you're thinking, well, Charlie, he's only made 1 out of 6 accurate crosses there. His crossing was very, very good, and it's not always about accuracy; it's about the danger of those crosses. So as I said, it also depends on the forward players in the box. 6 long balls, 5 of them accurate, which is very, very good. He hit the woodwork, yes. 1 dribble that was successful, 1 shot on target, 1 shot off target. You can tell this guy was a threat throughout. Also 4 tackles, 1 clearance. In terms of stats, and I've said this before, as I said earlier, I'm not too bothered about individual stats in terms of, if a team's not winning, a team's not playing well, and people say, oh, well, he scored this many goals. I'm not too bothered about that. What I'm doing here is I'm analysing a player that I think will suit Ten Hag, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But this player, in terms of the attributes they offer, I think he's a really, really well-rounded fullback. And from the few times I've watched him, obviously need to watch him on more occasions, but very, very impressed from what I saw against Roma. And we'll have a little bit more of a talk now about the system. So that was the little stats breakdown. Let me know if that was interesting in the comments. Let me know if you like that sort of thing, because I can do this sort of thing more often. Choosing a couple of players a week to talk about and analysing a few things. So yeah, really, really impressed with him. What could he offer for Ten Hag? Well, it's going to be interesting to see how Ten Hag sets up. I think he'll personally prefer Luke Shaw to Telles. I still think Luke Shaw, with his mentality, I like Luke Shaw in terms of some of the attributes he offers, but consistency, mentality, not good enough. So obviously Ten Hag may look at that and think, well, actually, yeah, I agree there. However, for me, Luke Shaw is still better than Telles in terms of the attributes he offers and for Ten Hag's system. more progressive passes, carries the ball better, he's stronger. He gets out of narrow situations better. He's got better dribbling ability than Telles. I always feel Telles looks a bit awkward on that left hand side. He always tends to sort of turn backwards, play the backward pass, and that's fine if you want to keep possession. If you want to keep the ball, retain the ball, keep the ball ticking. But I do feel Telles is a little bit limited for me. And I'm not saying Shaw's world class or anything. I personally, just with the way I see the game, I do prefer Luke Shaw. But I do think we do need a left back and possibly a right back as well. But that's just something on Malacia. I think Ten Hag will like how progressive he is. What I'm going to do in a minute, actually, I might get up a few stats for the season as well on Malacia. But he's extremely progressive, and he looked very, very comfortable defensively. And I know it was against Roma, who obviously it's Jose Mourinho. They were slightly more pragmatic, but I thought he did really, really well defensively. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get up some talk a little bit about Malacia this season and just give you a bit more of an overview this season. But I think he could be very, very useful for Ten Hag in terms of if you've heard about Ten Hag and you've seen and read about what sort of the system he plays with the overload and attacking areas, I think Malacia could be really, really useful in that sort of area and also in the rest defense structure. So, for example, if we're trying to stop a counter attack, I think he could be a key element in there because of his recovery pace, and he looked very, very good positionally as well to me yesterday. So just on the season stats then, so he's played 41 games, he's got 5 assists, which isn't bad. His average rating over 7, which is very, very good. This is just a general overview on the Who Scored app, on the website. Sorry, Who Scored website. He's got no significant weaknesses according to them. His strengths: passing, dribbling, holding onto the ball, and concentration. So that's just a little overview, and I'm not saying he's by any means world class. Ten Hag might not even sign him, but this is just an idea, just giving you an overview of what he's like. I think he was just a real engine. He looked well-rounded. Attacking, looked really, really threatening. Defensively, looked very, very concentrated. So that's just an overview on Malacia. I may produce some analysis on him and other players over the summer. If I do that, what I'll do is I'll draw up my Twitter accounts and I'll share the screen like I just did there with the Sofa Score stuff, and I'll do the same with Twitter, and we can go through the thread. So I think that would be a really, really good idea, so everybody can understand sort of what was going on and explain it in detail. So that's Malacia. Any questions on Malacia, just comment in the chat. So if you got any questions, any doubts, if you want anything pointed in the right direction towards any videos, etc., just let me know, because I've watched quite a bit about him. Okay, let's move on. Champions League final then. So obviously last weekend we had the interesting final day between Manchester City and Liverpool. Obviously Liverpool thanked the heavens. Liverpool did not win the Premier League, although I was starting to get a little bit anxious and worried they didn't do it, luckily. We need Don Carlo Ancelotti and Real Madrid in full form for Saturday night. It looks like both teams are probably going to have their best squads back, more or less. Looks like there's big players going to be back for both teams. What do I think? I think Liverpool are favourites, but you can never rule out Real Madrid. I think it's going to be interesting, the tactical setup. If you think about Liverpool, obviously with the 4-3-3, Real Madrid have opted for 4-3-3 in the majority of the Champions League games, or probably all of them that I've watched. What Ancelotti will have to consider, there's a few things to consider. Firstly, it's Camavinga. Camavinga's been excellent as a super sub for Real Madrid. Really, really good, especially against Man City. He was so good when he came on in extra time. When he came on and then in extra time, driving through the City midfield, breaking up play, taking control of the game. He was fantastic. I personally think that Ancelotti will probably stick with what he's done before. So I think it'll be Casemiro, Kroos, Modric, and then I think what he's done before is he's started Vinicius on the left, Benzema up front, and he's put Valverde in sort of is on the right hand side, but not so advanced. So more as sort of it's more like a 4-4-2 diamond sort of shape. But Vinicius is slightly wider. So basically, in possession, Valverde will just go out towards the right hand side, offer a bit more width. Then out of possession, he'll tuck in slightly just to protect the right back. So they may do that again with Valverde. They've also got Rodrigo, who's obviously more of an attacking player. So you've got Rodrigo and Vinicius with Benzema in the middle. I'm not so sure he'll do that. I think if he does do that, it's going to be interesting to see the battle between Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold with the two Real Madrid forwards, because will Vinicius and Rodrigo be advanced so that Robertson and Alexander-Arnold have to stay back? But what you know about Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp and their system, they do not sort of take into consideration as much what's happening on the other team with their fullbacks. If the opposition's attacking players are really, really advanced, their fullbacks will still do the same thing. They're not going to change. They're probably not going to change because the Liverpool fullbacks are so important to Liverpool's attacking play. They can't change the way they act, if that makes sense. The Liverpool midfield three is mainly there to press, win the ball back, and recycle the ball. The Liverpool midfield three isn't there to create so much. The Liverpool fullbacks are the main creators in the Liverpool system. So I don't think we'll see too much change there. I think Ancelotti will employ Valverde again, and then Rodrigo and Camavinga will probably be subs to come on. I'm hoping that Carlo Ancelotti and Real Madrid can get the job done, but I personally think it's going to be a step too far for Real Madrid. I think Liverpool are going to win by maybe, I don't know. I think it'd be quite tight, but I think Liverpool might just edge it, unfortunately. But I'm hoping that Real Madrid can do something for us and for the world, really, and stop Liverpool getting a 7th Champions League trophy, which will be not so good. Okay, I think that's sort of it for the weekly roundup. Please let me know, guys, about, I've changed the recording software slightly. I'm hoping that the video looks a bit more crisp. Also, let me know about the length of videos. Let me know about drawing up the share screen with the stats on things. Is that something you guys found useful? If there's any other player profiles that you want me to have a go through, I can certainly do that. Obviously, follow me on Twitter at ThreadmanChazza. The tag's at the bottom left of the screen there. What I'm going to be doing over the summer is producing a lot of analysis on players, Ten Hag's system, new signings, and I'm probably going to then explain on here about things as well. So basically, if you prefer Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter there. If you want to read things through there. If you prefer YouTube, you can watch me here. You can still follow me on Twitter if you want to see the updates there. If you don't mind, then you can follow me on both and just watch and read whenever you want. So yeah, there's going to be written analysis on Twitter, and sort of more video analysis on here. Also hoping to do some live streams as well. So we've got I'm going to get some guests lined up as well, some big guests hopefully for the live streams. And so there'll be some good analytical content on here with the live stream. So I hope that you guys are looking forward to that. And if you've got any recommendations, any comments, any queries, any feedback at all, just let me know in the comments. But otherwise, thanks a lot for watching again, guys. I really appreciate the support. Let's push for 200 subscribers. Next 100. Let's try and get to the next stage. Have a good weekend. Let's hope that Real Madrid get the job done, and see you later. Cheers.